We have implemented the strictest measures in all of North America. And the difficult truth is, every public health measure we have left comes with a massive cost to people and their lives. But we have never shied away from doing what's necessary.
We have made the deliberate decision to temporarily enhance police officers' authority for the duration of the stay-at-home order. Moving forward, police will have the authority to require any individual who is not in a place of residence to, first, provide their purpose for not being at home and provide their home address. Police will also have the authority to stop a vehicle to inquire about an individual's reason for leaving their residence.
And our inspectors will also be ensuring that those who absolutely must come to work are strictly following the public health measures. For our employers and employees, take note, this is your last warning.
I'm wondering about these new police powers to just randomly stop someone walking down the street or to pull over a car. What happens if a person refuses to answer the police questions?
So by issuing these new additional enforcement measures, it allows police officers to ask the person why they are not at their place of residence and what their place of residence is. And specifically to your question, if you are not willing to comply, then you are breaking the law.
If someone sees their neighbors breaking these new regulations and having a party in their yard, that sort of thing, should people call police on their neighbors?
In terms of people calling to snitch, to inform, look, we all have a personal responsibility. If it means saving lives, then I think we have to think about what your social responsibilities are as an individual to make sure that you don't empower other people and invite a whole bunch of individuals to your home.
Boom shakalaka, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters around the world. It is your boy Chris Shul, aka the Esoteric Noetic, aka the Chocolate Nubian Soul Brother from Ghana, West Africa. Down here in Melbourne, Australia, mate. Be sure to like the video, subscribe, click on the bell, tell your friends, tell your mom, drop some comments, let us know what it is. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if that video did not make your blood boil with righteous indignation, and you're thinking to yourself, oh, look, mate, the times are really serious right now. I think it's necessary. Obviously, we have to think about our personal responsibility, and we have to stop people that are breaking the law. Regardless of what the law is, if it's the law, it's the law. If that's the kind of mindset that you have, the kind of thought patterns that are simmering around your mind, then stop hovering around the like button and get the fuck off this channel. This channel is not for you. Find something else. Because the reality of this situation is that what is going on right now, ladies and gentlemen, is absolutely insane. If a couple of years ago, not even a couple of years, how long has it been? A little over a year. I told you that this was the norm. Even the most power-hungry politicians would be thinking, oh, I don't know if we can get away with doing that. Oh, that seems a bit much. But for some reason, this has become the status quo now. What did they say? The boiling frog. Over time, we've seen 2 weeks to flatten the curve, go to, oh, look, mate, we don't know how long this is going to go for, and now you got to stay in your home. You're not allowed to leave the state, leave the country. And if you don't give us your information, you're breaking the law. And now we can arrest you, and we will use whatever force is necessary in order to do so, which means killing you. Ladies and gentlemen, make no mistake about it. This is absolutely wrong. It's a violation not only of your human rights, it's a violation not only of the actual constitution in your country that's supposed to protect your human rights, but of course these politicians, these police officers, they're just enforcing or passing whatever law they want to, and then saying it's necessary, it's for your interest. That's the kind of logic that justifies the most horrible atrocities historically, ladies and gentlemen. It's necessary, it's for your security. I am sick to death of people that call themselves freedom lovers, that call themselves human rights activists, that call themselves woke, that are saying that this stuff is necessary because it's in order to keep people safe. It's in order to protect people from dying. Here's the thing. That is not an argument from a human rights perspective. If that's your entire mentality in regards to human rights, you need to wisen the fuck up, ladies and gentlemen. This is the same kind of rhetoric that has been used to justify the worst atrocities. And this is why the whole concept of unalienable rights came about. This is the history of the United States. Now, granted, it's been ossificated over time. And it's not just limited to the United States. This is the history of common law, actual human rights. The fact that regardless of what the government may say, they do not have a right to violate your individual sovereignty. You are a king, for you rule yourself, ladies and gentlemen. Don't ever forget that. And it's incumbent upon us not only to be kings in this society right now, when we're having so many of our freedoms eviscerated, but to be warriors, to actually have the courage to stand up against this tyranny and say no, to stand on the river of truth, and when asked to comply, say no, you move, to be warrior kings. I come from a land called Ghana, which means warrior king. And I feel like right now, these are the two things that we need to be. Because if we just capitulate and say that, oh, look, we got to do this thing in order to keep people safe, where do you think this is going to lead to? Oh, look, now we have to forcibly put something in your body. Looks like they're already doing that. Oh, look, now you must be microchipped. Now you must be anal swabbed. Now you look like you might do something that's bad. So we're now going to imprison you. These are the kind of thoughts that they're looking to implement. In fact, in a lot of cases, they're actually implementing this stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an absolute travesty that it's gotten this far, and I think it's incumbent upon us to speak more boldly about this kind of stuff and stop focusing on the science. I'm sick to death of people saying, "Oh, look, this," like focusing on whether or not this thing is as serious as the mainstream media is making it out to be. Because the reality of the situation, regardless of where you lie on the spectrum of this SARS 2.0 pandemic being the most serious pandemic in the world, or being not even a real thing, it's irrelevant. Because at the heart of this thing, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, look, how about this? What if this is the most serious virus? Is it still justified? Is this what you're saying? And if it's not, what happens when we do get another virus? I mean, I can assure you within the next 10 years, I'd say within the next few years, we're probably going to see something that is far more serious, with a far higher mortality rate. Now what? Are you going to advocate that people need to spend their entire lives living in their homes, not being able to breathe unless they're wearing a baby diaper? Is this the kind of attitude that you think people should take upon? At the heart of this is an understanding of human rights. At the heart of this is an understanding that the rights of man are not determined by the generosity of the state, but by the hand of God, to quote JFK. Or, for those that don't believe in God, that you own yourselves, and no one has a right to force their will on you if you're being peaceful. But there's so many cowards, and ultimately this is what it comes down to, because these people are not stupid. They know what's going on. They know that this stuff is strictly insane. They have no right to do this stuff, whether they're politicians or whether they're citizens that have fallen victim to this sheeple mentality. They're on team meh, as I like to say. They know this stuff is not justifiable within the realm of human rights, but they need to come up with justifications to make themselves feel good. Oh, look, we're saving lives. You don't know if you're saving lives. For all you know, you're killing people. You're killing people by forcing them to stay in their homes. You're killing people by not allowing them to have access to medical treatment for things that you think are not necessary, like cancer. Well, you don't know the consequences of your actions. The idea of taking away people's choice to make decisions for themselves because you have some vision of what's going to make the best world? I mean, what kind of nonsense is that? That's the kind of rhetoric you hear from villains. People that think they're God. You must all stay at home for 40 days and 40 nights. Not step out of your homes unless you are wearing a mask. You must all social distance. Let it be written, let it be done. For I am God and I have spoken, and it is all for the greater good. What kind of nonsense is that? Ladies and gentlemen, thank goodness that apparently the Ontario Police Department has been refusing to enforce these ridiculous policies, at least according to this article I came across. Among measures such as restricting outdoor gatherings to individual households, banning camping on Crown land, further limiting the operation of retail establishments, closing outdoor parks, playgrounds, golf courses, and shutting down non-essential construction. These latest measures would also seek to give police the authority to arbitrarily stop citizens requesting identifying documents as well as reason why they are out of the house. Around this same time, the official Toronto Police Service Twitter account sent out the following. So this is a statement from the Toronto Police saying that, have you ever been stopped by the police when you're walking down the street? Regulation 58/16 prohibits the arbitrary collection of identifying information by police. You can learn about, oh, fantastic. So the police are actually saying, you know what? You guys have rights, and if a police officer decides to violate your rights, ask you for information through coercion, well, you should know that you have a right to refuse. This is what police officers should be doing. If they were really people that cared about the public good, they'd be telling people, "Hey, look, you don't have to comply with all of this nonsense. You know, I mean, if you don't want to wear a mask, you don't have to wear a mask. I mean, it's a violation of your rights." But no, instead they intimidate you. They tell you that if you don't wear a mask, we're going to arrest you. They exploit the fact that that some people don't know their rights. And fundamentally, ladies and gentlemen, this is all it comes down to. Does someone have the right to force you to do something if you were being peaceful? If you have done nothing wrong? If you believe that they do, then you believe in the initiation of violence. You believe in the ends justifies the means. Essentially, you don't believe in you don't have any morals. You believe in strategies. You believe in this utilitarian worldview that seems to be adopted by so many of these elitist douchebags. That's fundamentally all it comes down to. And granted, it always serves us to do a bit more research and understand what the legality is around this kind of stuff. But fundamentally, these people have no right to be doing what they're doing. But apparently the Toronto police have said, look, we're not going to comply with this. But the weird thing is they've given this very airy-fairy explanation for how they're going to implement this. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. The OPS, that's the Ottawa Police Service, will not be conducting random stops. We will be taking deliberate and careful approach that emphasizes equity, legality, and efficacy in the application of these authorities with the specific and exclusive purpose to support public health measures. That's political nonsense. Well, I believe that we obviously have to take things into consideration. We need to take into consideration people's human rights and the public health and safety measures, and we will do what we think is in our best interest. This is what people say when they want to be perceived as not taking any side. They want to be diplomatic. When the reality is, look, there is no fence sitting around here. You either believe the fact that people have a right to their rights, or you don't. If you want to make this proportionality argument that, oh, look, depending on how serious we think this threat is, we're going to essentially use force and violence, you're on the wrong team, bro. I mean, this is what the government does. This is what these politicians do. This is what Fauci does. This is what so many of these people do because they know if they came out and outright said that they'll do whatever they want, they've come across as tyrants. So they try to appeal to this sense of of reason, this airy-fairy nonsense where they think they can justify this stuff if it's an appropriate risk. But fundamentally, ladies and gentlemen, this stuff is unlawful, it is immoral, and it's incumbent upon us to call it out for what it is. It's incumbent upon us to stop complying with this kind of stuff, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, make no mistake about it, this is illegal, unlawful. Basically, you have some presidential or political figure that's decided to empower the police officers to do something. They're essentially love letters to Santa Claus. These police officers have no right to be enforcing this stuff. And if the politicians have the audacity to proclaim that they have the right to empower police officers to do this kind of stuff, well, then you have the same kind of power to not comply. This really comes down to a war of will, a war of the minds. And being so strong, being so focused, determined in your sense of right, that when people are confronted with your will, they back down. When police officers see the fact that you're not willing to comply with this kind of stuff, they don't want trouble. They don't want to have to go through all this paperwork. They don't want to have to get sued. They'll back down. But if you just comply and say, oh, look, all I'll do is you tell me, I don't want any trouble, they'll just continue doing this kind of stuff, ladies and gentlemen. They're like bullies. Unless, of course, you make this uncomfortable for people. You walk into people's stores, and look, I'm not advising you do this if this is someone's private business, but you wear a mask, even if it makes people uncomfortable, even if you know that people would rather have you not do this thing. Because the alternative, I don't even want to think about the alternative. The alternative is that it's not just a mask, ladies and gentlemen. We can clearly see that it's not just a boom shakalaka. The alternative is that every possible thing that you can think of that has been spoken about in these crazy dystopian scenarios like 1984 is going to be becoming the norm. And it's going to be the norm because not that we wanted this to be the norm, but because we've sat back and said, I don't want to rock the boat. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Let us know what you think. Peace out. Keep it real. Don't drive and text. Check out the Telegram group if you want to stay up to date with what's going on. And check out the Peaked site that I'm using to post a lot of this material. It uses the High blockchain, one of the social media platforms that isn't about censorship. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, remember that regardless of how dark things may seem, that there are people that do believe in freedom, and the arc of the moral universe is long, but it always bends towards justice. In time, the truth will come out, and in time, those that are carrying the torch of freedom will shine their light and be seen and usher in a new age of freedom, justice, truth. Peace be upon your butt cheeks. Suri Namaskara. Namaste. Krishul. Ow!
What is liberty?
What the? Who says you can't build muscle on a vegan diet?
What's it like being a hottie in the vegan community?
There are no political solutions, only technological ones.
The economics of the system don't allow multiple competing systems to survive.
Engineering, technology, these arts of humanity, they are magic.